You guys know that I advocate for biological fathers. In this case, he is making it hard for all of us as biological fathers to our children, okay? This fool on my screen right here is a father at age 19 years old. In my opinion, at 19, he has no business being a father, okay? Like, I don't believe that at 19 years old, you have your shit together, that you have your career together, and you have a way to sustain your life and your career, let alone for a kid. I just don't. That's why I think it's better that if we start to institute a method where you should be required to have a license to have kids. Another thing is I believe in keeping your hands, feet, and objects off of these children. We're going to talk about this little boy and family members of the 2-year-old little boy right there, and his name is Jakobe Chaffin, spelled Jakobe, so Jakobe, and then Chaffin, Chaffin. The family members are pointing fingers at the state of Tennessee, not pointing fingers at the father. Instead, they're pointing fingers at the state of Tennessee, saying enough was not done to protect the child. So y'all see where we getting ready to go with this? Can we get a hashtag blame it on CPS in the chat? Because y'all know that's what they getting ready to do. And while y'all are here, click that thumbs up. It'll share our stream and let other people know that we're live. So I ask for everybody, en masse, right now, if you're listening, please click that thumbs up. Share the stream. 19-year-old Jarrod Wright is charged with first-degree murder. Now, y'all know, first-degree murder either will carry, upon conviction, could carry a life in prison sentence, or you could be convicted and sentenced to death. First-degree murder and perpetration of aggravated child neglect, first-degree murder and perpetration of aggravated child abuse, and aggravated child neglect. Now, according to the police and the police affidavit, the little 2-year-old little boy, and guess he was a beautiful little boy. The 2-year-old little boy, let me see if I can get his face back up on the screen for you guys. Take a look at. I don't have a lot of pictures of him, but I got a couple. This little boy right here, Jakobe Chaffin, was taken to Lebanon afternoon of December 23rd of 2019 with several abdomen injuries. The doctor said that the injury was caused by blunt force trauma to the toddler's stomach. So what does that mean? That means he was either kicked or punched or hit so hard that it ruined this little child's insides, okay? Now, social worker called police and an investigation interviewed Wright. According to the affidavit, investigators questioned the child's father, Jarrod Wright, that fool right there, who admitted to harming the child. He admitted it, okay? So we're not wrong for calling him a murderer. Wright admitted he would discipline the boy by making him lie on a bed with his feet on the floor and back up. He said he would sit on the boy's back and hit him on the butt with his shoe. According to the report, Wright said when the boy squirmed, he would just put more weight on his back, and that might have pushed his body into the metal bed frame. Jesus, damn. So y'all have heard about these parents. If y'all listened to my stories last year, then y'all have heard plenty of times where we've talked about these parents sitting on children also as a form of discipline. It's a stupid thing to do. According to the report, Wright admitted to doing this 3 or 4 times in a week leading up to the trip to Lebanon. Wright told investigators that he had done this to the child 3 or 4 times leading up to the child's arrival at the hospital. Wright's previous criminal records showed that his arrest for aggravated child abuse and neglect was found in his records. Now, the boy died early. The boy died early the morning of Christmas Eve. I don't know why they write this like this. It's hard to read it this way. Family members told the local news they filed abuse reports, but nothing was ever done. Now, here's where CPS comes into play. The uncle of the child says he personally called the Department of Children's Services 10 times. What do y'all think about that? He personally called 10 times, and that's just one person, because multiple family members say that they tried to call also. 10 times, twice in Georgia where the family lived, plus 8 times in Tennessee after the child and his parents moved to Memphis. He said nothing was ever done. The system definitely let us down. The system definitely failed Jakobe, said Corey Haynes via Facebook Messenger interview. I filed a total of 10 cases because each time I filed the case will automatically get closed. So I was wondering, how would they close this case when they haven't even seen the children? That's a valid question. Now here's the reality. The reality is that the system did not fail this baby, as I said before. So the question is, who failed him? Anybody have an answer to that? Hashtag where's the mother? Thank you, moms, fur babies. Who is responsible? Who failed him? In my opinion, we have to blame the root cause of problems in order to start solving problems. Everybody catch that? If you ever want to solve a problem in any situation, you have to go to the root cause of that problem, and that's where you have to begin to start stopping the issue. Hashtag where's the mom in this situation? And I'm going to tell you guys this. I believe that somebody else was present. And if somebody else is present, then I believe that they should also pay a cost here as well. If the mom was present, then I believe that the mom needs to be arrested and charged as well. There were multiple children involved in this situation. So I don't know if they say this in this story, but there were multiple children involved in this story. So not only was this little boy beaten, but there were at least 2 other children that were beaten as well, but they didn't die. They lived. Okay? So since there were multiple children involved, there's no way that this man was able to commit all of this abuse by himself and work and tend to children. There's no way. There was definitely another entity involved, according to what I call the hypoculture, or where I make my own hypothesis, since they're not telling us what happened. And I believe that everybody involved that lived under that house, under that roof, that were around those children need to be held accountable. Now, Chaffin said one caseworker told him at one point somebody went to the house, but nobody answered the door. In another instance, Hayes said he was told his case sat for months on an empty desk for someone who was no longer working for the agency, is what he found out. Wow. He was a beautiful kid. He had a lot of things to do on this earth, and his life was cut short by his own father. That hurts, he said. Hayes plans to do whatever he can to hold the state accountable. The ball was dropped multiple times in this situation, and I just hope they do something internally to fix this, where this doesn't happen ever again. I wouldn't wish this feeling on anyone. Hayes said the two younger children were taken into state custody after the 2-year-old's death. He said both had injuries from abuse. So there was more than one kid in this situation. Now, for the little boy in this situation, let me get his face back up here. On the right-hand side, his funeral is actually going to be tomorrow, so Friday. Jakobe's 2 younger siblings are now in state custody. The family says both also have broken ribs from being beat by the father. Jesus Christ. Also, Jarrod Wright, the father, has no bond, and his next scheduled court date is January the 8th, which is coming up pretty soon. The local news asked the Department of Child Services about the family's claims that their abuse reports were unanswered, and they received a statement. The death of a child is heartbreaking and tragic, and to learn that it may have been at the hands of an adult or even a parent is unthinkable. While state laws prohibit us from commenting on specific details, even the release of the name, I can confirm that DCS has opened this case into the death of this 2-year-old boy and opened 2 previous cases or investigations. In both instances, made extensive efforts to try to locate the family. This agency will continue to do everything we can to help police and prosecutors as they work to ensure that justice is served for this child. And that's from the DCS Commissioner, Jennifer Nichols. Let me go ahead and show you guys the videos. Let me go ahead and get the fair use popping, and I'll let you guys get back to your day, okay? Let's get it. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107. Real quick, let me say this because mom is asking how old were the other two children. Well, I actually cannot put their names, faces, or ages out there because they're in DHS custody. So they limit us as far as what information we can actually know about those kids. Unless it comes out in court or something like that, I actually cannot say. Even if I was told, I know that I'm not supposed to say until it actually comes out. But let's go ahead and get this video started.
Tonight, the local I team uncovers questions surrounding the murder of a 2-year-old boy. Thanks for joining me. I'm Katina Rankin. My co-anchor Richard is off. I'm talking about Jakobe Chaffin. He died Christmas Eve. His father is in jail charged with his murder. The child's relatives are pointing fingers at the state of Tennessee, saying it dropped the ball by not getting the child out of the house when abuse reports had been filed. Local I team senior investigator Jenny DiPrizio has been digging for answers all day, and she joins us in the studio with what she's learned. Jenny.
Yeah, you know, the child's uncle says he personally called the Department of Children's Services 10 times to report abuse, twice when they lived in Georgia and 8 times when they moved to Tennessee, but nothing was ever done to remove the child from his parents.
He was an amazing kid, big personality. I mean, he just lit up the room in any room he entered.
Corey Hayes says his 2-year-old nephew, Jakobe Chaffin, would still be alive today if state caseworkers would have done their jobs.
The system definitely failed Jakobe. Like I said, there were multiple cases, detailed cases. I mean, very detailed.
Chaffin's father, Jarrod Wright, is charged with his son's murder. Blunt force to the stomach is listed as the cause in court paperwork. Hayes says the state dropped the ball by not doing enough to investigate the reports of abuse. He says one of the issues.
His case sat for months on an empty desk for someone that no longer works with the agency is what I found out.
Hayes says Chaffin's 2 younger siblings were finally taken into state custody after his death on Christmas Eve.
She has a 1-year-old that had fractured ribs where he had been beating him. And the 1-month-old had fractured ribs where he threw her into a wall.
Hayes says nothing will bring his nephew back, but says he plans to take whatever action is necessary to prevent this from happening to another child. The state has not commented on the family's claims. Wright is in jail without bond. He has a court hearing next week. For the local
New information on a 2-year-old beaten to death Christmas Eve. The Tennessee Department of Children's Service confirms it opened an investigation twice into the possible abuse of the child, but never actually made contact with the family. Police say that 2-year-old Jakobe Chaffin was beat to death by his father. Local I team senior investigator Jenny DiPrizio, she joins us in the studio now. And Jenny, I know you talked to family members who say the state did not do enough to investigate the abuse complaints that they filed.
Guys, I'm going to keep playing the video. I'm going to try not to stop it and talk through it or anything. But if y'all would, do me a favor and click that thumbs up. Let me say thank you real quick. Said thank you for all your hard work. We appreciate all that you do and send in $10. Hashtag AFC all day. That is Joan. Joan, if you're listening, sweetheart, thank you. I did get your PayPal donation. And also got one that I know wants to remain anonymous, said didn't know you were on. We'll catch the replay. Hashtag AFC with the prayer hand emojis. You know who you are. Thank you for always supporting me. Definitely appreciate that.
Yeah, you know, family members say they called the Department of Children's Services multiple times to report the abuse. They are upset the state admits to opening investigations, but then say caseworkers dropped the ball. On this rainy Friday, family members of Jakobe Chaffin met in this Eid cemetery to bury the 2-year-old. And saying goodbye wasn't easy.
It's like a piece of my heart has been ripped out because I was so close to Jakobe.
His father, Jarrod Wright, is in jail, charged with his murder. Family members are upset, saying they called the Tennessee Department of Children's Services multiple times to report child abuse, but they say the cases were never really investigated.
I don't think they took the situation serious enough, because if they did, we wouldn't be here today.
A statement from DCS Commissioner Jennifer Nichols says, in part, I can confirm that DCS has opened a case in the death of this 2-year-old boy and had opened 2 previous investigations, and in both instances made extensive efforts to try and locate the family. At the cemetery, Family members question what those, quote, extensive efforts were, saying they gave the state the location of the apartment the child lived in.
That is a beautiful little boy, man. I don't understand what will piss a parent off to beat these kids up to that point. I never will understand it. Look at that little boy. Absolutely nothing he could have did wrong at all. Being a little baby.
State the location of the apartment the child lived in.
It's inaccurate. I feel like they're just trying to cover up their tracks.
They haven't did their job. They failed me, and they failed my whole family.
Jakobe's two younger siblings are now in state custody. The family says both also have broken ribs from being beat by their father. Family members say the state's action now is too little, too late.
I would love the family to come out. And matter of fact, let me give a shout out real quick. A couple of stories back, I did finally get somebody to send the message to the biological father of one of the stories I talked about, where I said that he should have been given custody, where he had his whole baby room set up and all of that stuff. Shout out to him, because he did contact me, and I'm gonna talk to him and his mom on Sunday. Okay, but where is the mother in this situation? Why don't somebody come out and tell us where the mother is in this situation? What, somebody knows what happened. Somebody knows something, but they got to come out and talk.
If it was done months ago, Jakobe wouldn't be dead.
Now, in the statement from DCS Commissioner Jennifer Nichols, she said state law prohibits commenting on specific details. She added the agency will do everything it can to help police and the prosecutor on this case to ensure there's justice for the child.
Here's the next video.
A Memphis father now faces murder charges after his 2-year-old son died Christmas Eve. We first told you about the arrest of Jarrod Wright last week. Tonight, we're learning more about what happened, what led up to...
Yes, they are cowards. I 100% agree. You said Ronnie was the one who donated the 10. Oh, got you. Okay. So Ronnie Omari, thank you very much for that. I appreciate your donation.
The child's death. Fox 13's Kirsten Garris is live outside Le Bonheur Children's Hospital. Kirsten, the police report says the injuries were caused by a form of discipline.
Yeah, that's right. In this affidavit, Jarrod Wright said he would use his shoe and hit the boy's bottom as a form of discipline. And that discipline happened multiple times leading up to the child's visit here to Le Bonheur Children's Hospital. And that is where the boy eventually died on Christmas Eve. 19-year-old Jarrod Wright is behind bars, charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder after his 2-year-old son died on Christmas Eve. Court records show the toddler was taken to Le Bonheur Children's Hospital on December 23rd with a severe injury caused by, quote, blunt force trauma to his stomach. The affidavit shows Wright admitted to causing those injuries. According to the report, Wright said as a form of punishment, he would make the toddler lie on the bed with his feet on the floor, back up. Wright said he would sit on the boy's back and then hit him in the butt with his shoes. Wright said when the boy squirmed, he would put his weight on his back and, quote, may have pushed his body into the metal bed frame. Wright admitted this happened 3 or 4 times before Christmas.
Stop beating your kids. There's no reason. Don't mistake. There is no reason to spank, hit, beat, physically discipline children. Stop doing it.
I went to Wright's last known address, but no one was home. I reached out to the Tennessee Department of Children's Services for an interview about this case, but because of state law, DCS is limited on what they can share about child abuse cases. In a statement to Fox 13, DCS Commissioner Jennifer Nichols said in part, quote, the death of a child is heartbreaking and tragic, and to learn that it may have been at the hands of an adult or even a parent is unthinkable. Wright's TBI background check only shows his arrest for the aggravated child abuse and neglect before the 2-year-old died from his injuries. But Commissioner Nichols said DCS has opened a case into the toddler's death and, quote, had opened 2 previous investigations and in both instances made extensive efforts to try and locate the family. And Jarrod Wright will be back in court on January 8th at 9 o'clock. We will keep you updated as to what happens during that court appearance. Live in downtown Memphis, Kirsten Garris.
Here's the last video.
State of Tennessee responds to claims that it dropped the ball investigating child abuse claims. The family of murdered 2-year-old Jakobe Chaffin says the Department of Children's Services did not do enough after they filed abuse reports with DCS. Chaffin died Christmas Eve. Police say his father beat him to death. He was buried today, and the local I-Team's Jenny DePrizio was there. Jenny, just a sad and mournful day.
Yeah, you know, today was an emotional day for the family of Jakobe Chaffin. They say if the state of Tennessee had done more, the 2-year-old would still be alive. On this rainy day at this cemetery in Eads, the family of Jakobe Chaffin said goodbye to the 2-year-old, his grandmother still in shock.
I didn't ever think a dad would be so mean and beat his babies.
The father, Jarrod Wright, is in jail on murder charges. Family members say this wouldn't have happened if the state of Tennessee had done more when they called in abuse reports.
I don't think that they took us serious at all because we reached out to them plenty of times.
A statement from the Department of Children's Services Commissioner Jennifer Nichols says, in part, I can confirm that DCS has opened a case into the death of this 2-year-old boy and had opened 2 previous investigations and in both instances made extensive efforts to try and locate the family. But family members question why the state couldn't locate the child and his parents since they had given DCS the address.
They went out there and couldn't get in, and that's when you know it's something wrong when you can't get in the house. That's why you call 911 to get in the home. They didn't do nothing. They didn't do enough.
Family members are relieved Jakobe's 2 younger siblings are now in state custody, but say it's too little, too late.
Yep, because he very well could have easily, with broken ribs, that could have caused those kids to die too.
It's like a piece of my heart has been ripped out because I was so close to Jakobe.
Now, in a statement from DCS Commissioner Jennifer Nichols, she said state law prohibits commenting on specific details. She added the agency will do everything it can to help police and the prosecutor on this case to ensure there's justice for the child. For the local I-Team, I'm Jenny DePrizio.
All right, guys, let's go ahead and wrap this thing up. And again, it's a very difficult thing to talk about. He has no bail, nor does he deserve a bail. But again, I don't believe in blaming the system. We have to start. The root cause is the biological parents, the mother and the father. That's where you must start and point the blame at. Now, if you just want to just change the legal system, then by all means, absolutely. If they're there, you're paying your tax dollars for that system to be there, and they're running services that are supposed to be for the betterment and protection of families, then they have to do the jobs that they're paid to do. Sue their ass, period. It seems to me, in my opinion, that they failed baby Jakobe. Not only Jakobe, but I want y'all to understand that the other 2 children that were in this situation, they were also facing death because they had broken ribs from being beat up, punched, hit, kicked, whatever it was, okay? So instead of just one dead kid, we could have ended up having 3. I'm thankful that they survived their injuries. It's a damn shame the fact that we're in the 3rd day of the new year and we're already having to report multiple stories like this. And I'm not going back and just drawing a whole bunch of old stories. Like, we are literally starting off on a bad foot. And I really, really hope that not only do they hold him accountable, and they're probably going to give him a life sentence or the death penalty, but the women or woman that was around him, whether it was the biological father, mother, or whoever, if y'all know about this situation, y'all come and tell me. It's cool. Because I believe that the people that were involved in this situation, that were around this, that saw this and didn't say anything, if they saw something and didn't say something, then they need to be held accountable and their asses need to be handed to the state. Straight up and down. That little boy right there, the little smiling boy, there is nothing on this earth that little boy could have did right there. And I'm going to pause it right there. Y'all look at that little boy. And if I could take that little angel, if I could take all of these babies into my possession, I absolutely would. If I could make 100 more of me and take care of 100 children, I would do it. Because that little boy, Jakobe, did not deserve what he got. He could not speak for himself, nor could he defend himself. Okay? And I want to wish his poor soul our condolences to the rest of the family. Our condolences go out to y'all. From my heart to yours. R.I.P. Jakobe Chaffin, and I hope that his siblings, the other two children, I hope that they are able to survive, hope that they're able to thrive, and I hope that they find a good, suitable home for them to be, protected, nourished, and cultured, okay? That's the end of the stream. This is your boy DJ Just Jay. It's another tough story to have to talk about, but we're the AFC, where we advocate for children first. Thank you guys for listening. From my heart to yours, I love you guys. Thank y'all for listening. That's the end of the stream. Make sure you share it, okay? Peace.